The prosecutor in the Delphi murders case is fighting to keep cameras out of the courtroom.
Yeah, he says broadcasting inside the court risks a circus atmosphere at one of the most high-profile murder trials in Indiana history. Now, these arguments come in some new documents filed in Carroll County Court.
Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel is in studio tonight to help explain why the prosecutor is so opposed to broadcasting these proceedings. Bob?
Well, you'll remember last week, attorneys for defendant Richard Allen filed a motion asking that cameras be allowed in all future hearings in the Delphi murder case. Well, the prosecutor disagrees, and in just 5 pages, he lays out 24 reasons he thinks cameras in the courtroom are not a good idea. So far, the only images of Richard Allen's court hearings have been as the defendant enters and leaves the Carroll County Courthouse. Prosecutor Nick McLeland wants it to stay that way. In his new filings with the court, he says broadcasting the court hearings may have a negative impact on the participants in the proceedings and impair the dignity of the trial. And he said allowing cameras in such a highly publicized and sensationalized case runs the risk of creating a circus atmosphere where 15-second clips taken out of context can race around the world in seconds, giving an inaccurate impression of the actual evidence and conduct of court proceedings. The prosecutor says broadcasting pre-trial hearings could be especially problematic because it could taint potential jurors. And that could be a very real concern, according to defense attorney Todd Salee, who reviewed the new court filings for 13 News.
The state has a huge interest in not having the pretrial information broadcast because these are pretrial motions that are going to deal with the admissibility of evidence, the credibility of witnesses. So I think the state obviously has an interest in not muddying the water, so to speak, in terms of its jury pool.
Other reasons listed by the prosecutor for keeping cameras out of the courtroom: to prevent the televising of gruesome images of the deaths of 2 teenagers, to prevent a loss in confidence of the prosecutor and law enforcement whose actions will be questioned by the defense, and to prevent accidentally showing jurors and underage witnesses. Richard Allen's attorneys claim broadcasting the hearings will actually increase confidence and transparency in the judicial system. The decision on whether to broadcast is now up to the judge.
It's certainly going to be a delicate balance. The idea of the public's right to access to information versus the privacy of those individuals that are involved in the circumstances, including the families on both sides.
13 News and other media organizations have filed a brief assuring that courtroom rules and etiquette will be followed if cameras are allowed inside the court.
So, Bob, then do we have a sense whether the judge will allow hearings or the trial to actually be broadcast?
Well, 13 Investigates has learned that the court staff has already been scouting out possible media locations and camera angles in the courtroom. More site visits are planned, so allowing cameras is certainly being considered. Whether or not Judge Gall will ultimately allow that or not still is yet to be seen. We'll keep you posted, certainly.
TBD.
Right. Yep, we'll be following it, Bob. Thanks so much. Of course, you can read the defense's argument and the prosecution's response right now. Just scan the QR code that you see here on your screen or go to WTHR.com/Delphi.